In the last 2 years, online scams have crossed over $1 trillion. And that number is underreported because many individuals and companies feel ashamed to tell others that they lost their money. Also, scammers prey on the elderly and those who are vulnerable, somebody who lost their job, loved ones out of a bad relationship. Because of AI, the entry to those scammers is a lot easier. They can write better scripts, they could imitate someone's voice, they can even generate deepfake videos that could trick people. This is why I'm going to cover 30 online scams so you or your loved ones can be aware of it. Over the last 25 years of my journey in tech, a lot of companies, clients, and friends have come to me because they fell victim for this. So I can guarantee you have somebody in your family, one way or another, or somebody you know is going through this. So I hope this will provide value. Before I begin, I would love to invite you to join our beta release for openbuild.ai. We recently launched a multi-channel AI chatbot that sits on your website and your messaging app that answers your customer support inquiries, lead generation, 24/7 in 60 plus languages. The website is openbuild.ai and I would love to get your feedback on the product. Let's start with the 30 online scams and what you should do to avoid falling for them using potentially AI. The first scam is phishing messages. Many of us have gotten emails pretending that they are coming from our financial institutions, impersonating your bank, your PayPal account, your Venmo, and they normally put in a link to a fake website that looks exactly like the bank's website. And on there, you try to log in, they steal your information, and they try to access your account. Now, they've evolved from only sending out emails to also sending out phone messages like USPS, FedEx, and DHL asking you to update your information so they could deliver the packages. These institutions usually never ever put in links inside those emails. They ask you to go directly to the website or to call them. If you see an email and inside which there's a link, most likely it's phishing email. Now, how to prevent falling for these? Most inboxes have strong filters, and now with AI, they could identify phishing messages and get blocked immediately. But from experience in this space, I know that a lot of these emails, they reach people before they get flagged. So thousands and thousands of victims fall for this before Gmail picks up on it. There are some tools inside your phone and inside your inbox that might identify those messages for you, but just to be safe, stay away from clicking on any message that looks like a phishing email. The second type of scam is online tech support scams. There are many creators who have online videos exposing those, which are awesome. I do recommend you go out and watch them. But basically what they do is they buy ads online, pretending that they are Microsoft support, HP support. And once you call those numbers, thinking you're calling Microsoft or others, they will answer, try to access your computer, and they could do a whole bunch of things there. Once they access your PC, they could either install something there to lock your computer and take it ransom, or they pretend that they installed something on your computer because it's infected. They run some basic terminal prompts or commands. They show you a bunch of code, and then you end up paying them money because they're there to remove it. So it's basically just stealing your money by pretending that your computer has been infected. And again, there are many forms of these, but if you need support in your computer, go directly to the source, go to the website, or take it to a professional who can help you with this. A lot of these ads that you see when you type in support are actually not the direct website. Also, never give access to your computer because most of the time, unless you know the person, they have a plan to take over it or to steal your money. The third type of scam is the IRS and government impersonation scams. These are quite devastating because they call people and they pretend that they owe them money or they owe money to the IRS, and then they're going to go to jail if they do not wire a certain amount. So they typically start with a very large number, like you owe $200,000, but we're gonna work it out so you can only pay $4,000 or $5,000.
This is the Crime and Investigation Department of the IRS. How may I help you?
Hi, I'm not sure. I received a message to call this number back.
Now, Neil, my name is Officer Donald Smith, batch ID 762186, and I'm calling you from the Investigation Department of the IRS. And the reason of my call is to let you know about the lawsuit which has been filed against you by the IRS. So do you have any information about this case?
Some people get scared and they end up paying. And I know a few people who fell for the scam, unfortunately, business owners. But the thing is, they do ask you for gift cards. So you have to go and buy gift cards from Walmart. Anybody that's asking you to buy gift cards from a store and then send them those gift cards is 1000% a scam. The government normally doesn't communicate with you this way. They're not going to call you. They will send you an official letter and they will do an audit. Sometimes they ask for $20,000, $30,000 to avoid penalties like a couple of $100,000 and even jail time. If somebody calls you pretending that the IRS, immediately hang up. Scam number 4 is the romance scam. Now, this one is pretty sad because the majority of those who fall for this are elderly people who are lonely, potentially lost their loved ones. And people reach out to them pretending that they are a legitimate profile or a person, potentially in the army. They're about to retire and they're looking to settle with somebody that they love. And they do invest a lot of time and effort in communicating back and forth via the phone to ultimately, after let's say a few days or a week of you feeling comfortable with them, they start asking you for money. We need $800 so we can get our passport because it's stuck at the airport. Or they might say that they have so much money and they show you pictures of themselves, flat, expensive cars, but they need a couple of $1,000s because the money is currently locked in an international bank. So they use all sorts of things to get people to invest a little bit of money. And once they give $800, a lot of people, they end up giving them a lot more money once they've done the first payment because they feel invested. They already trusted that person. And from there on, it's a disaster. A lot of people lose their life savings and they wire everything to someone who does not even exist and who's not the actual person.
He just said things that I had not heard maybe ever or in a very, very long time. Said all the right things for sure.
He was perfect, a Prescott architect who was out of the country traveling for business, but headed back to Arizona soon.
I was not thinking with my head, I was thinking with my heart.
James sent her a check for $720,000 and showed her an online account of $1 million. It was a complicated plan, but basically if she just sent him some money, $125,000, he could get out of some legal trouble and then they would come back and cash the check together.
It's like going all over the place, trying to get money, find Bitcoin machines, and it was horrible. It's horrible.
She says she got suspicious and went to the bank to look at the check. It was a fake. She didn't notice it was signed Oprah Winfrey. Her retirement plan, gone.
Shocked. I'm like, oh my God, I've been taken.
Once she called James out, he started sending gifts, a mural of their pictures, cheap jewelry, and then a blanket of their faces. Reverse image search found the Rhode Island realtor whose pictures have been used by scammers for years, he says.
They'll do anything. They're nefarious.
With online dating apps, this has quadrupled over the last 8 years, and it's not going any better. So how to prevent it? I think this one is self-explanatory. If you meet somebody and they ask you for money immediately, that's a red flag. You have to meet the person. You have to know who they are exactly. And even though they provide profiles, and even sometimes they might have like a deep fake of the person speaking, most of these are fake profiles. They do not exist, and you're going to end up losing all your money. Scam number 5 is ransomware.
Right now, a crippling cyber attack has businesses around the world on high alert. The ransomware, known as WannaCry.
We want to move on to the other developing story this morning, the global cyber attack.
The National Security Agency developed this software, and it's now being used by criminals around the world to demand ransom.
Security experts say this is one of the worst and most widespread pieces of malware they've ever seen.
With this, they target majority of the time companies and big corporations because they take over accounts. They charge a percentage of the sale, 10 to 15%. And they want companies like car dealerships. They target hospitals and even governments in some cases. They ask for payment via Bitcoin. Most of the time, they make their way into these computers via social engineering or outdated systems. They might send a message to some employee who installs, or they fall for those messages. Once they do, they get their way into the administrative privileges to take over the entire system.
Alan in accounting gets an email from Candace. He asked for something, and someone hacked her email and sent him this. So it looks like it's actually from her. And he goes and downloads it and double clicks on it and saying, oh, I'm going to open this. Boom. What happened? All of these files, and you're watching it in real time right now, are changing to WannaCry. I can't open any of these. And it says, if you want to have your data back, you can pay me in Bitcoin. This is only affecting my documents, but this can spread through a network within minutes.
Recently, a car dealership across the street from here, they got their entire system on lockdown and they had to pay $300,000 in Bitcoin to get it unlocked. So it was very devastating, and even people died because medical records were locked and hospital couldn't get to them on time. The only way to prevent ransomware on your computers is one, never fall for social engineering. Comes back to the phishing emails and phishing messages. A lot more sophisticated though. Second, keep your computers patched and also install security software that detects those ransomware before they run. Scam number 6, investment scams. This one is off the chart because they are targeting people who are commenting on YouTube channel for, let's say, somebody talking about stocks and they have a lot of comments that they're interested in this video, or cryptocurrency forums, and they pretend that they could make you 10x return on your investment. And they're highly trained, their accent is brushed off, and they have a fake investment portal where you can see your portfolio go up in value, leading you to invest more and more money. Eventually, the moment you decide to take your money out, they will disappear and you will lose everything. Do not invest money with anybody that you don't trust. Make sure it's a financial institution or it's an investor that you know they are credited, licensed, and they're not going to run off with your money. If anybody reaches out to you via social media or via your phone, WhatsApp is big right now on this. A lot of scams coming that way. Ignore it and be aware that they're out there trying to get your money. Number 7, fake podcast scams. This one is quite new. What they're trying to do is they send you an invitation to a podcast and they try to social engineer their way into your social media profiles so they could take it over and then ask you for money to unlock it, or pretend that they're you and ask somebody that you know for money. And the way they do it is they might send you some links, trying to make them administrator on your YouTube or Facebook. And once they take over those accounts, you have no choice but to probably either pay them or close the account completely. So be aware of those fake podcast scams. I usually don't give anybody access. And you can tell through the history of all the previous podcasts that were done. Now, I know that they can impersonate a legitimate podcast host. So I would always check with the source, check the sender, if it's the actual website. If the website varies with one letter, then it's not legitimate. Usually the podcast host will send it from their main domain and not some knockoff one-time domain. Scam number 8, cryptocurrency scams. Obviously, you know, now on the rise of all these meme coins and people investing money in the wrong coin. Now, I'm not going to talk about this. This is more of rug pulling and people trying to make high returns very quickly. But there are a new form of cryptocurrency scams in groups, Telegram, Facebook, and WhatsApp. And the way this works is they start group chats. They might have hundreds of people over dozens of groups. And then they start putting investment advice and they try to guide you to go to their own platform so you can make those investments and make high returns. And they even put returns that are not legit. They plant people inside the group so the people can say, yes, I'm making money. Let's say 5% of the 50 people are claiming that they're making high returns. You end up going to their site, signing up to their platform, putting a down payment to buy crypto, and your money's gone. Anytime you get a group chat from people pretending that they're going to make you high returns, you just got to use the platform. Stay away, because your money will be gone and you will never see it again. Scam number 9, online marketplace listings. They basically put listings that do not even exist and they ask for down payments. It can be in many shape or form. I've seen it a lot with cars. Somebody puts a car that, let's say, is $50,000. They discount it to 30 and they say this is a sale. They might use addresses of actual car dealerships, and a lot of people inquire about this, and because they want to get the car, it's a good deal. They say you have to pay for the car now, otherwise somebody else is going to take it. So the FOMO kicks in, people give out money, they never get the car. This is with a large amount. Some listings are actually smaller amounts. They might put a Facebook marketplace, let's say, of a couch that's $500, but you have to give them a down payment of $100 so they could reserve it to you, because there are lots of other people interested. Also, to take it a step further, some of them, they say they're giving away a product, but they will ship it to you and they will charge you, let's say, $38 for shipping. And of course, the moment you give them that money, you will never see that money. And they do it for hundreds and hundreds of people, making $300-$400 a day. Be careful when you are buying something online. If you have to make some sort of a payment up front, always choose a protection method. Venmo has it, PayPal has it. I personally only pay when I see the product and I receive it and I like it. Unless it's a shipping process, in which case there have to be protection in place. So just be aware of these. Never buy a product online that you're not 1000% positive of the seller. And not to mention, the sellers usually have profiles that you can look at. And if there is anything shady, it will show up immediately. I look for positive stars. They have a variety of products. And if maybe a couple of products, but you can tell immediately that this profile is fake. Scam number 10, fake PayPal receipts. This one is tricky because it happens the other way on marketplaces. So let's say I'm selling a camera. Somebody reaches out to me and they say they would like to buy the camera, and they ask me for my PayPal. They supposedly send the money and they send the receipt and a fake email saying that the money was sent to PayPal and it was in an escrow and the money will be released once the product is received. And they tell you that it's not going to show on your PayPal account because it's an escrow, which that's just totally made up. And you end up shipping the product ultimately to never receive the payment. If somebody's paying you up front via PayPal, the money will show inside your PayPal account, not via email, not via fake SMS message, and certainly not via a call, because anybody can impersonate a PayPal phone number and pretend that the money is there. So be aware of those fake receipts and never ship a product unless the money is in the bank. Scam number 11 is fake listings to steal your personal information. Basically what happens is somebody posts, let's say, a job, or they post an apartment, and they guide you to fill out an application to be able to apply for the apartment or to apply for the job. And once you provide your information, let's say your name, your email, social security, they will seal your identity. So I would be very careful when you're filling out an application online to provide that information, unless obviously it's a credible source and you know exactly who you're giving the information to. Now, it's silly that I have to mention this, but a lot of people fall for these, because if you're on the market for, let's say, an apartment, you find this perfect online listing for the perfect price and you're so excited you want to get it, you might be open to giving their information a lot easier without, being skeptical. You don't want to miss out on that offer. So be very careful with those fake online listings that are there to steal your personal information and to eventually take your identity, apply for credit cards, loans, and so on. Scam number 12 are Ponzi schemes and pyramid schemes. Now, Ponzi schemes is named after Charles Ponzi, who scammed people out of their money by giving them returns on investments from other investors. And once everybody wanted their money out, everything crumbled. Obviously, Bernie Madoff and the devastation that he brought forth on people who lost their entire life savings. Anybody who promises you high yield and high return on your investment is probably a Ponzi scheme. Cryptocurrency is a form of Ponzi scheme as well. You give money, somebody's making money off somebody else, basically, most of the time. Pyramid schemes can be very similar, where you have people selling a product, and what they're selling is selling that same product. So let's say I come to you and I tell you, I'm going to teach you how to become rich. The way that you become rich is by selling the same course that you're taking so others can become rich. So that's a pyramid scheme. Basically, the people on the top making the money, a lot of money, people in the middle making some money, and then all the little people at the bottom who can never sell, they will lose their initial money. So these are Ponzi schemes and pyramid schemes. Do not invest in people telling you there is high return on your investment unless it's well studied, or it's a business or a startup with due diligence. And pyramid schemes, I think you can sniff these a mile away nowadays, because you just have to resell the same thing that you learned to others. Number 13, and this one is pretty nasty, it's pig butchering scams. Basically what happens, somebody hits you up on your phone pretending that it's a mistake. And once you say this is the wrong number, they spark a conversation and they ask you where you're from. Then they start sending you some pictures. They become friends with you. And within a week time, they start flashing all their expensive cars, money, their travel and vacations and stuff like that. You think they're rich. And then they start to tell you that they are invested in this platform and they make a lot of money and that you should invest in that same platform. They go to the degree of actually having a hire, pretending that they are a girl who was in those photos, that talks to people live, which is crazy. She might even call you via WhatsApp or whatever app you use and pretend that she's a real person. They are big corporations or big underground scam organization, let's call them. They even extort some people, or when employees work for them and they end up figuring out, some of them are even forced to stay there and work for them. But ultimately, what happens when you fall for the scam and you invest your money in a platform? You will never see your money out. Same thing that I mentioned before, these are fake portals. They look exactly like legitimate portals. And the reason they call it pig butchering is I start telling everybody, my parents, my sister, my friends who also have their own money, and they start dumping that money into that platform, ultimately butchering everybody that you know by stealing their money. So if anybody hits you up on a dating app or via message pretending that it's a mistake and flashing their money and expensive stuff, eventually to tell you to invest, stay away. This is a big sign. It's a big butchering scam. Scam number 14, these are fake support ads. Again, coming back to the tech support. A lot of companies, unfortunately, like Google, are not doing enough to block scammers because they buy ads on Google to show up on top when I'm looking for HP support, Microsoft support, Apple support, Amazon support, AT&T, Verizon. So I call up those numbers. They will tell you that they want access to your account. They gain access to your account and then they tell you you have a bill pending and you need to pay it, and then you end up paying them for a bill that you never even owed. Because you're calling, you trust them, and you're more likely to give them, thinking it's your utility company. And Google is not doing enough to block those people. Obviously, it's probably a big chunk of money for them, so they don't want to lose billions of dollars in fake ads. They choose that over protecting people. I go back to logging into your utility company's apps, let's say, because most of them have their own apps and own website. I will never ever search for them. And if I do, I make sure that it hits their website and their website is legitimate. Don't take the URLs for granted, because these scammers sometimes they might play around with the URLs. And let's say Verizon, they may say Verizon and add like 2S at the end and make it look exactly like the parent website. There are some plugins and security extensions that you can install that will alert you if there's something looks fishy. You can install them on your computer and you can install them on your browser. Scam number 15, fake rentals. Scammers post fake property listing and they ask people for a deposit, which we all do before we, let's say, rent an Airbnb, which we trust. You might put in some money, and once we go there, we pay for the entire amount, and the rental doesn't even exist, which is insane. Most of us might be using legitimate websites nowadays, like a Verbo or Airbnb, to rent out those properties. But overall, there are lots of scams. They might get you out of those listings to somewhere external, maybe to offer you to save money. And once you're there, the deposit is gone. If it's a local listing, obviously, see it in person first. If it's an online listing, only buy it from a place that you trust. Scam number 16 is Amazon Triangulation scam. This one is quite recent and has gotten very sophisticated, where scammers will create an Amazon seller, let's say, and they put products at very attractive pricing. Once you order those items through Amazon, they will ship those products using third party or other vendors like a supplier using stolen credit cards. You will get the product shipped directly to you. They will get the money out of the seller account in Amazon. And once the credit card get reported, it looks like you are the one that stole that credit card because the product was shipped directly to you. So that's why it's called Amazon Triangulation, because they're using Amazon as a proxy where you place the order there, it goes through the cleaning process, you will get the money as a seller through Amazon, but the shipment and the scam is happening on a third-party website. Be very, very careful. This is why Amazon need to do their due diligence on sellers a little bit better, but also you can look at the reviews of the products, and you can even look at the seller to make sure that legitimate. They usually have a profile there, they have a website and some contact information. Scam number 17 is the lottery or giveaway scam. People get calls saying that they want a cruise or they want a lottery. A lot of times they might say it's something basic, because when they used to claim is $20 million and you have to pay a fee for them to give you that money, people didn't fall for it. But now they're saying that you've won a cruise or some cryptocurrency that you signed up for somewhere, but you need to pay for the transaction fee and it's going to be a few $100s. When somebody calls you and they say that you've won something, asking you for money to release it, you certainly did not win, and they're certainly trying to get your money. Scam number 18 is fake appliance insurance scams. They do a large volume of outbound calls to elderly most of the time, and they tell them that their TV or their washer and dryer warranty has expired and that you have to renew it. They will take your credit card and they will bill you $14.99 every month. And if you ever need help with your devices, they will not supply it. So basically they call these the fake appliance insurance scams. If you have a warranty with the company, that's what it is. Or if you bought it from somewhere, normally you can purchase the coverage directly from the seller. Scam number 19 is the email extortion scams. It's one version of Sextortion. They will send you an email message saying that they have footage of you. They probably have basic information like your name. Sometimes they may even have your location from online breaches. But they're telling you that they've seen you accessing pornographic websites. They have footage and they weren't going to tell everybody about it. It's pretty shameful. And they might even involve the police. It's very silly, but that's how they try to extort money out of you. Now, if people have been watching porn, they got really scared and they see their name and their address, they might fall for it, paying that person. So they will never release that information, but obviously they don't have anything. It's just pure fake email trying to prey on millions of people. All they need is a couple of hundreds of them falling for it, and they could make their money through that. Always ignore them. Most of these emails get filtered out already through the emails of the world. But if you ever get it, just block it, report it as phishing, and you should be good to go. Scam number 20, these are fake health products and medical supplies scams. I know many of us might never ever buy something that they don't believe in, but there are a wealth of ads for products that they promise you fast weight loss or a bigger penis, grow your hair very quickly, that a lot of people fall for it. Obviously, those who might have a complex of some sort, they will find those ads, and they're good in targeting because they're using, again, Google and Facebook's algorithm to reach you. Ultimately, once they get to you and you order the product, it doesn't do anything. So you have to be very careful with these fake health products. They are successful and they are scams because they prey on the vulnerable. And that's the theme of every single scam so far that I've covered. Scam number 21, these are dark web or deep web scams. Basically, listing promising services like hacking, writing you a virus so you can release it on somebody else, even websites that you can hire somebody to kill somebody else. You speak to someone online on the dark web, and because it's illegal and you end up paying somebody to, let's say, create a virus or a malware for you, and you will never receive that piece of information, and you cannot go to law enforcement, obviously, because you were doing something illegal to begin with. So the dark web and deep web scams are quite popular. If you are conducting any kind of transaction online, some people go to the dark web to, I don't know, buy drugs. You're risking never getting those products. There are some websites that are providing escrow services on the dark web. This is not a world that I advise anybody to go into, but the scams obviously in this part of the world is off the chart. So stay away from the dark web and only do legal transactions from legitimate sites. Scam number 22, this one is very painful. It's a Sextortion scam, but instead of email, this is actually via video chat. A lot of people on social media sites, they get approached, somebody pokes them, send them a DM, they start talking, and all of a sudden they tell them to turn on the video. They put a video of themselves taking their clothes off, but without an audio, claiming that the audio is shot, and they want you to do the same. And once you do, they start taking pictures of you or snapshots via the cam, and immediately they blackmail you. They start tagging people on your Facebook profiles and Instagram with those pictures, which is quite foul unless you pay them a certain amount of money. There's a teenager who took their life a few years back, sextorted via web chat. He was very scared that their parents and all his friends are going to know, and he pretty much took his own life. These are quite bad. Coming back to the romance scam, the romance scam is more involved, a long term for money. This one could be short, quick. You think you're just video chatting with somebody when in fact they are just trying to get you naked and then blackmail you from there. Unless you meet somebody in person, keep your clothes on. Number 23, these are fake subscription renewals. Companies pretending that they're Netflix, they might call you and say your renewal is up, your monthly membership didn't go through, and that you need to renew. They do these by the hundreds of thousands, it could be calls or even messages, to try to get you to click on a link, phishing you to a site and taking your information. If they're calling you, they're going to ask you for your credit card. If it's online, they're going to have a portal with a credit card that you can put it there. And obviously, most people have Netflix or Prime Video. They can download a list of people who have them as well, because a lot of these got breached before. Basically, fake subscription renewals. Most of these should be updated directly on the site. If somebody calls you pretending they're Netflix or Amazon, you need to update your credit card. Never ever give it to them on the phone. Log into your account and do it directly from there. There are many apps right now that could sit inside your phone device, and I mentioned the browser that could tell you when a call is highly likely to be a scam and they're trying to access your information. There are several of them that could help you, and they claim they use AI to identify those. Scam number 24, advanced voice and deepfake scams. We're getting very sophisticated with this, And this one is very, very dangerous now with AI because scammers are using AI-powered deepfake. Deepfake is basically when I can make a video of Donald Trump or Brad Pitt or anybody really, as long as they have enough online footage, I can make a deep fake video of that person saying something in their voice. AI and voice synthesized with AI, I can right now speak for 5 seconds
Sherlock Holmes's
to an
quick
app
eye
called 11 Labs, and they will have a replica of my voice. So whatever I type, it could narrate it in my own voice. So if you're somebody who's putting out a lot of content online, you have a lot of videos, and you have a lot of yourself speaking, someone can literally take that information, create a deepfake voice and deepfake video of you, and then send it to your loved ones and say that they are in an urgent situation. They need money. If your daughter or your son or somebody you know closely, they call you and their voice sounds exactly the same, and these are again a lot better. They used to be robotic, but now legit sound like the person. You might end up wiring the money and people are falling for it. There's somebody who got deep faked on Zoom and ended up wiring millions of dollars to the wrong business and wrong transaction. So be aware of these. Please teach your loved ones, your elderly in your family, that if they ever receive a phone call and it sounds exactly like you, hang up, call you back on your number, not on the number they called from, because I could impersonate anybody's number, and even on the recipient it might show that the caller ID is me calling. So you have to be very careful, educate them in any kind of emergency, hang up the phone, call you back to ensure that it's you and not somebody impersonating your voice and your face. I've seen it also being used in scams where somebody creates a fake video of like a known celebrity, and then they send it to you stating that this backs up their claim. On any of the previous scams, a lot of them are creating those videos for fake medical products or fake beauty and health products. Deepfakes using AI are better than ever, and a lot of people are going to fall for it in the next couple of years without the proper education. Scam number 25, the fake check scam. The scammer sends a check to a service provider like myself. Let's say I'm offering online classes, or I might even have an online listing. They reach out to me and say they want to pay me up front. They mail me out a check for a lot more than the amount that I quoted them, and they say it was a mistake or it was issued by their boss, so I need to return the money to them as soon as possible and wire it to their bank. So I deposit the check, I wire them the difference. Oftentimes they tell you to keep an additional couple $100s for your pocket. So let's say I quoted them $3,000, they got a check for $5,000. They say, please keep $500 and give me $15,000. So I end up wiring back $15,000, thinking it's a balance of a check that ultimately, you know it's going to bounce. It's not a good check. And they use it not only with these very basic things. I've seen it with fake employment listing, where they hire somebody, they send them a legit check, and then when they get it, they say, please put it in your account, cash it out, and wire me the money immediately. It's pretty bad. People fall for it a lot because they do receive a check thinking it's good. Now, less and less people are using checks nowadays. Everything is being wired. So if anybody sends you a check for something, reject it and ask them to Venmo you, PayPal you, so you protect yourself. Or you can accept it directly via your bank. Scam number 26, fake government help and grants. They call you saying that you qualify for government aid because there's some sort of a relief going on. Could be due to local crisis. Usually they spike up right around any crises that's happening. Could be a flood, it could be a volcano. They immediately start dialing out local people, telling them that the government is going to give them money. The only thing they need to cover is the application fee for a couple of $100s. A lot of people fall for this because it's right around the time where they got hit, they're vulnerable, they lost their homes, their cars, and they really need that help. So they end up paying the application fee. Obviously, this whole thing is fake. The bad thing about it is that people are impersonating government agencies' numbers. So they might call in and the caller ID shows that it's the United States government, it's IRS, and so on. So when somebody call you with these, ask for sources, go to the government's legitimate direct website. I mean, this is a repeating theme, right? Go to the source, verify, never really take things for granted over the phone. Scam number 27. This one is the Money Mule scam, where you get hired to basically launder money and you don't even know it. You apply for a job and they tell you your job is to get packages and help with the accounting. So you're going to be getting those checks and you're going to have to either cash them and deposit them in the bank, or you have to just take the money and put it in a Bitcoin machine and then give us the transactions and they pay you for it. So you become a money mule without even knowing. A lot of people who fall for this are very desperate. They need the money. They find a job for easy cash, apply for it, and they become a money mule, ending up in a lot of trouble because it's money laundering. Oftentimes money being stolen from other people, asking them to send you the money, and then you will send the money forward to them, making you the one in the middle. I would always vet this employer. Never ever deliver packages for anybody. This is always a red flag if people are asking you to push packages as your main primary job, unless they're a career company, of course. Scam number 28, fake charity scams. This is similar to the fake government grants. However, what happens is they have elaborate websites and portals where they could collect money. They could put pictures of kids in distress and they need your help. So they prey on those with good heart and they try to get donations into a pocket of one person, and obviously it's not legit. They're using a lot of the ads on Facebook and Google so they can get your attention, especially during crises. And if you feel compelled to donate and help somebody, you're probably helping the wrong person. That's why you only give money to the proper organizations who are legit charity and you know exactly where the money is going. Scam number 29. This one, the job offer scam. I really hate this one because people who don't have a job, usually they are struggling financially most of the time. And the way these work is they will have fake job listings. They will even message you on your phone. They find you on breaches and forums and stuff like that. Because, by the way, scammers sell information to each other. So if they have a list of somebody, they might end up reselling it and reselling it. So they tell you that there's a job that is out there and is very simple. Work from home. All you have to do is click. So you end up going through this training. They give you a login to a fake site that they created. And they tell you have to click on these buttons. And every time you click, you get like $1 or something. So you accumulate a certain amount of money. Ultimately, when you try to take it out, they say the only way to take it out is you have to maintain a minimum balance on the account of, let's say, $500, and then you're going to release that $1,000 you made. So you end up spending a lot of time invested in those offer and training. And the moment you want to get your money out, because you've invested so much, you put 500, and what happens? It's gone, and the person you were talking to disappears. This is one of many, by the way, job offer scams. Unless it's a reputable company, you understand who is the founder. There's a website, there's a social media presence. The person can speak to you on the phone, they're local. If anybody just texting you, if anybody just pretending via email that they're hiring you, stay away. It's a red flag. I would never take a job like this. And finally, let's say you went through the entire process and they asked you to pay them to get paid, look for something else. The final scam, scam number 30, is the reverse identity scam. Basically, your information is part of a breach. Maybe your utility company like AT&T got a hack, millions of information got leaked, and scammers buy that information or they find it online and ultimately start dialing out people, asking them to confirm their identity. So they pretend they're AT&T, they say your account has been breached. Is this John? Your sister is Rachel. You live on this street, is that correct? The guy says yes. He's like, all right, I want to lock your account. Can you please help me with some additional details? The person will start providing more and more information, like date of birth, social security. They will steal your identity, and then they will start running credit cards and loans on your name. And in some cases, they might even SIM swap your phone because they have so much information about you. They could literally call your phone company and they could perhaps take your phone number and SIM swap it. Reverse identity scams are quite big, and the burden is your credit is ruined. You're liable for the money that person ranked up against you, and you have to go in some cases through attorneys and years of trying to reclaim and clean your credit. So be very careful. Anybody calling you and asking you for personal information, hang up, dial back. This is it. 30 scams you should be aware of, and I'm pretty sure by the time you watch this, there might be a whole bunch of new ones coming out, but I summarized the majority of the scams you and your loved ones should be aware of, especially with the advancement of AI and making things a lot easier for these online scammers. You should be also using AI and the tools available to protect yourself and your loved ones. The damage is usually very devastating, and some people don't bounce back from it. So be careful, stay safe, and if you like this content, please spread the word.